I have to have a killer working title for my book before I can even think about sitting down and starting to draft. So today, I am going to share 3 proven strategies that have helped me come up with amazing working titles for my books. And most of those titles ended up being the final title for the book. So I can attest that these methods are proven and they actually work. If you're new here, hi, I'm Amy, a former children's book editor, former children's book buyer at a major independent bookstore, and now a children's book author. I have used these 3 strategies that I'm going to share today to come up with titles for some of my books that helped get them noticed by editors at Big 5 publishing houses, and I am confident that they can do the same for you. Sometimes our subconscious mind needs a gentle nudge, so I like to do what I call priming the pump. One of my favorite places to prime the subconscious pump is to look at quotations from literature, and lots of famous books have gotten this treatment in their titles. Of Mice and Men, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is one of my all-time favorite examples. I mean, that just makes me want to sit down and write a thriller, and I don't even know how to do that. Another source of inspiration could be inherent metaphors in the book that you're going to write. Even if you haven't started drafting yet, you've got some idea of theme, and you're probably kicking around a sense of place and scenes. And if you've got an idea of the sort of mood that you want to set with your book, that is a great place to start searching for metaphorical inspiration for book titles. The first book that I sold to a major publisher was a nonfiction book about a NASA mission that was doing high altitude hurricane research. So what are the metaphors around hurricanes that I could use to inspire a title for this book? The second one that I came upon ended up being the one that was chosen for the book, which is Eye of the Storm. And of course, that says everything about a hurricane. My young adult nonfiction book, In the Shadow of the Moon, gets its title from, well, actually, I was thinking about Pink Floyd and The Dark Side of the Moon. But the whole book is about how a lot of the history of the moon landing is obscured because we were so distracted by the incredible achievement of landing on the moon that not a lot of us paid close attention to what was happening in the literal shadows. There were government conspiracies, there were secrets that were kept from the American people. And so this idea that the title could hint at what was happening in the shadows was very inspiring for me. One of my favorite ways to prime the pump is to seek out idioms that are somehow related to my story. So I might search the internet for idioms about storms if I was looking for idioms for my hurricane book that I mentioned previously, and just see what comes up. Lots of times these are going to be cliched and terrible, but you never know what scrap of information your subconscious mind is going to hit upon that is going to surprise you in the absolute best way. Don't negate anything at this point. Just allow yourself to brainstorm freely without restriction. Which brings me to the other strategy that I use to generate book titles. So once you have fed your subconscious mind a steady diet of your book's inspirations, it is time to take it on a play date. I do this by writing my own Mad Libs. Think of a title of a book that you absolutely love, that just moves you every time it comes to mind. For me, that book is one by the young adult author Laini Taylor. It's called The Daughter of Smoke and Bone. The next step is to take that title and break it down into its parts of speech. Then, just like with an old school Mad Lib, start filling in the blanks with the inspiration from your mood board, or if you're me, your giant list of related terms about your book. So for The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, that would be noun, article, noun, article, noun. Doing this exercise with Laini Taylor's book, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, I might come up with something like Days of Stars and Fog, or The Year of Tides and Turmoil. These are obviously terrible book titles, but the idea here is not to care about that. We're just trying to coax the subconscious mind and see if we can't come up with something really cool. You got to really go for it when you're doing this process, because you will be surprised at what your subconscious will do when you lower the gate and let it do its thing. A note about titles: if you are traditionally published, you don't always get the final say in what the title of your book is going to be. You can suggest a title, and of course, they will consider it, but they are usually contractually required to at least consider your opinion. but they don't always agree to publish the book under your original title, unfortunately. If you liked this video, check out this one on how to overcome fear and anxiety to finally finish your manuscript. And I'll see you next time.